A battle of price tags. One company looks to push the boundaries on a top-of-the-line premium flagship. The other company plays the part of a market disruptor. Very different philosophies making different arguments for why you should hand over your hard-earned cash. The OnePlus 5 manages to slot in between the smaller and larger S8s. But as we're reviewing the more expensive 128GB version of the phone, and the form factor is surprisingly close, we've opted to pit the 5 up against the Galaxy S8 Plus. Immediately, we can deliver the design win to Samsung. This remains one of the most progressive form factors of the year. Standing in stark contrast, OnePlus produced a handset which resembles a phone line in its third year of using the same aesthetic. It's attractive, well-constructed, but it's far from breaking any new ground. I'm personally not a fan of glass-back phones, and the matte finish on the OnePlus 5 feels great, but few would argue over the Galaxy taking a win here. Moving to the tech inside, a lot of phone enthusiasts start with the chipset, and here these two are on the same track, both using the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835. Samsung stayed conservative with RAM, but stepped up to 64GB of internal storage and the ability to add more via microSD card. From there, the Galaxy becomes a bleeding-edge lifestyle platform. Multiple security options, water resistance, new display aspect ratio, a plethora of things to play with and customize. OnePlus has a more focused approach on performance. Our review unit is the model with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of UFS 2.1 storage. Tons of horsepower combined with a conservative screen resolution. A lightweight track racer versus a fully loaded luxury sedan, Sammy takes a slight edge here for those extra options. Speaking of the displays, Samsung is pushing for a taller aspect ratio. It delivers more surface area in a smaller overall shell. OnePlus maintains a more traditional 16:9 shape, but it's shocking to see the S8 Plus is only a little bit taller, yet provides significantly more display area. Add to that, Samsung includes a higher resolution panel. 1080p on the OnePlus is more than adequate for daily use, but the Quad HD pixel density will also look good in the hand, but will work better for uses like VR. And just as there are significant differences in approach to hardware, these two differ greatly for software. Samsung is an everything in the kitchen sink kind of company. Changes to UI and navigation, additional apps and Samsung services, a whole Samsung experience running on top of Android, unique to the Galaxy. OnePlus runs a lot leaner. Dubbed Oxygen OS, it's really a lightly tweaked version of stock Android, a cleaner blank slate for folks to customize. So when it comes to performance, it shouldn't be any great surprise that the OnePlus feels faster and benchmarks better in every key showdown we can compare against the S8 Plus. Fewer of those momentary Android hitches or stutters. Better multitasking, more fluid gaming. The OnePlus 5 currently wears the crown for Android system performance in our testing. Now looking at camera tech, Samsung lightly refined the S8 shooter over last year's phone. It's a top-tier all-rounder with crazy fast autofocus, terrific low-light exposures, and crowd-pleasing image processing. OnePlus took a more daring approach, including a dual-sensor camera on the 5 which adds a hardware zoom and can produce some really fun software blur. Head-to-head, the Samsung takes the camera battle as the core photography experience is better refined, and the S8 Plus produces nicer-looking UHD video opposite the lack of hardware stabilization on the OnePlus. The audio comparison is a bit closer, however. The speaker battle is par for the course, both phones using bottom-firing mono units. It's the headphone game which gets more interesting. This is the best Galaxy we've ever reviewed for delivering true 32-bit playback, higher quality output, and including a more powerful amp. This year, the Galaxy scratches and claws its way into a higher performance tier. And for all of those improvements, OnePlus takes a step above them. The OnePlus 5 delivers identical quality, and the amp on board packs a bit more punch to better drive nicer headphones. The cheaper phone is the better option here for folks who already own good earbuds or cans. The Galaxy deserves an honorable mention for including some nice Samsung earbuds in the box, but phone to phone, this is a OnePlus win. And what good is all this tech if your battery can't hang? Thankfully, both phones easily make it to dinner time and beyond with moderate use. The Galaxy's slight capacity advantage is largely eaten up by extra background software and more screen to power. The OnePlus bests the Galaxy in our media bench, 30 minutes of streaming video using a smaller percentage of a smaller battery. For those times you need to recharge, the Dash charger absolutely shames Samsung here. Topping off is no contest. OnePlus takes a win here too. So let's wrap this up. Where's that leave us between the OnePlus 5 and the Galaxy S8 Plus? Two different phones, different approaches, targeting different markets. Phone to phone, it's easy to declare the S8 Plus as the better consumer all-rounder, the more desirable option, the more fashionable device. Phone purchases are as much emotional as they are practical, and the S8 is likely to deliver a bigger dopamine hit for most folks. But considering price tags, do you really get $300 more phone with the Samsung? The OnePlus walks into this showdown like a hungry knife fighter. Big storage, big RAM, incredible performance. The design is derivative, but the package handily wins the bang for buck. So, which phone would win your cash? Do you want a comfy road trip in a fatty Lexus, or are you looking to carve up some track in a stripped kart racer? Vote in our viewer poll in the upper right-hand corner of this video. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for our full OnePlus 5 coverage and help us out with some sharing on your favorite social networks. For Pocketnow, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, some gadget guy on Twitter and Instagram, and I will catch you all on the next review.